So the question of today is it possible to get so clean that you are able to live on less food, especially on a raw vegan diet? Can you get so clean that your body is able to assimilate more of the nutrients from your food and therefore you can eat less? No. 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 And no. There is no clean. For a start, you're never going to be clean. You weren't dirty in the first place. Get that out of your mind. Remove that from your mind. Stop thinking like that, okay? So that's the first thing. You can't clean up something that's not dirty. Uh, you've got a digestive system through which all the food that you eat is passed through your entire life. If there was any way, I want you to imagine the mountains of food that you've eaten in your life. I want you to imagine every day of your life, 3, 4 full meals a day, 3, 4, 5 pounds of food. How much food is that? Over 10 years, over 20 years, over 30 years, over 40 years, over 50 years. Imagine that mountain piling up. Okay, just think about these things, people. Imagine that mountain of food. Okay? But for some reason, some tiny sliver of that has become stuck and ingrained inside your system. Just a tiny amount of it. The rest of it passed through fine. But some tiny little layer. What utter garbage, man. The people that you think that your digestive system is like full of all this stuff. Well, if it did start to fill up, why didn't it just completely fill? Why aren't you expanding like a balloon? Like with thousands and thousands of pounds of food stuck inside you. There's no clean to get. It's all passing through. There's nothing there stuck inside you to be cleaned out. Now, they say you can get more efficient. You can get more efficient. Okay. More efficient at taking nutrients from food and being able to gain weight. Interesting. Interesting. Let me tell you something. And I don't know if this is true for you, but when I walk out into the world, I don't see a world of emaciated people who are struggling to gain weight and struggling to add weight on. I see a world of people who are really good at taking the nutrition out of food and storing it on their body. Amazingly good. Doesn't matter how cooked the food is, how junky it is, how processed it is, doesn't matter how bad the food is. Their bodies are totally capable of getting the nutrients out of the food and using it as calories, macronutrients, micronutrients, all the rest of it. Efficient. That's efficient. Someone that's 300, 500, 600 pounds, wow, they've got their body's really efficient at getting the energy out of food and using it and storing it. But people are saying, I'm going to get more efficient by getting clean. Then I'm going to be more efficient so I don't have to eat as much. And the assumption there is that food's just like passing through your body and the nutrition in it is just like being passed out. Not a chance. Not a chance. Your digestive system is amazingly long, and at every step of the way it's trying to get the nutrients out. Every step of the way, even in your mouth, nutrition is being taken out and passed into your bloodstream. And maybe down into your liver and kidneys to get processed and all that stuff. But it's consistently been taken, that's what the system's doing. It's consistently sucking out all of the nutrition so that what comes out of you has no nutritional value to us anymore because it's just been so drained of all the nutrients. So there's no more to be taken out of it. You know, there's nothing more there to be taken out. So how are you getting more efficient so you can take more out of what is literally a pile of shit that's come out of you? You think you're going to get more nutrition out of that than what is a pile of shit? That your body's went, right, we've got enough out of this, it's time to let it go. See, people don't have any trust or faith in the body whatsoever. It's unbelievable. Think they know better. I think they're going to go and fast and make their body efficient. Because their body's not efficient enough, and that's why they're not gaining weight. And, you know, this whole thing, I'm going to get clean and then I'm going to get more efficient so I can live on less food. And then someone said to me, oh, there's a few people that report they've done that. No, they've not. No, they haven't. Why do you believe the ideas that people just share? Why do you believe these ideas? There's one person I know in this whole raw vegan movement that has students that have followed his path and actually lived long term on his lifestyle, and that's Doug Graham. And when you report all these other people that say they've done this, they've done that, they've done this, they live on less calories, they live on nothing, they live on this, where are the people that follow them and their style? And I don't know if I follow, if I showed Doug what I was doing, if he would say that's 80-10-10 to the lesser. You know, I've not always been perfect with it or whatever, but basically I've styled around that, especially the quantities of fruit that he recommends and all that stuff. And I know multiple people that have done the same thing, that have followed what he's laid out and followed it for years consistently. Maybe little changes here and there with whatever, but basically followed it for years. And I don't know I've not seen these other teachers having students that have done that, having people that have followed their plan. So when people say, well, this guy says he does this, that's okay, but why is no one else able to do it? Why is literally no one else able to do what they're claiming to do? Is it the case that they are special and different, or is it that they are not being correct or accurate with what they're saying? Because it's much more likely they're not accurate or they're lying, but I don't necessarily want to claim that people are lying, but they're not accurate with what they're actually doing. So they make claims of eating less. Now, here's the other thing about the whole claim of eating less, is that it's attractive to certain people. Certain people like to hear that message. Are you aware that there are millions of people that have eating disorders? Not raw vegans. This is people in the normal dietary path. Millions of people with eating disorders. Can you imagine that it might be attractive to them to hear a message, you can eat less? You can not eat. Well, you can eat less anyway. Can you imagine that's an attractive message to them? Can you imagine that some people might like... I don't know. I'd like to think that people aren't morally sort of bankrupt, but can you imagine that some people are quite happy to attract people towards them and want to put a message that attracts people to them for their own gain in some way? Can you imagine that might be possible? I imagine it might be possible. I don't even know if the person realizes they're doing it on purpose, but over the years they might have shared various messages and said various things, and on some subconscious level they started to calculate or realize, wait, this is the message that attracts people to me. This is the message that gets me clients. This is the message that brings power, wealth, attention to me. And that they start to focus on that message and start to believe it more and more and more. And I'm not saying they don't believe it. Maybe they do truly believe it. But because they get so much benefit from it, they've got such a bias towards the idea that it's actually right. Meanwhile, everyone else who doesn't get any benefit from it is not seeing this amazing ability to go raw vegan for a while or fast or anything. And I know plenty of people that have fasted. They didn't end, and multiple fasts. They don't get to a point where they can eat less. I'm very sorry for people that have eating disorders and all that stuff and want to believe you can live on less food and no food or whatever. It's not true. It's not true, and you need to seek help. You know, the sad thing is that you speak to some of these people and they want to claim the ideas of living on light and living on this and living on less and all, and they want to claim all these things. And it's all this, unfortunately, it's this egotism, this like creating this persona, creating this spiritual identity, this like fake spiritual identity thing, you know, with the clothing and the words and I read these books and the light and whatever the concepts, and portraying this character. And it's kind of annoying to see that, you know, and it's all a lie. It's all fake. They're not living on light, or they're not living on less food, or they're not. It's all a lie. And when you really get to know them a little bit and speak to them a bit more, and eventually they'll start to open up to you, maybe, and you'll really start to see what's behind it all. They hate how they look. They hate their body. They want to be skinny. They have real negative emotions around eating, which they will be honest with you if you get to know them well enough. They have shame, they have guilt around eating, and that's what really is the basis of the whole thing. It's nothing to do with some ability to live on less food or their desire to, for that purpose in itself. It comes from a place of shame, of guilt, of, anxieties, of abuse maybe, or neglect. It's a nasty, dark place that people wallow into, and the under-eating thing causes depression, instability, anxiety, and some people love to wallow in that. It's their little victim place or whatever it is. And they will act in completely irrational ways, and they become the prey to people that have this message of you can get clean and eat less, and you can come and fast and get clean and eat less. Or you still can't eat less. Come back and fast again. You're not clean enough. Or you need to come back and fast again. You're not clean enough. Or still not. Come back again and fast. You're not clean enough. Or you're still not. Fifth fast. Sixth fast. Seventh. You think that doesn't happen? That's exactly what happens. That's what people do. That people are a continual wasting their life trying to figure out their life through fasting, over and over and again. I mean, maybe not going to a centre all the time, although sometimes, because sometimes you hear about people that have been to places 4, 5, 6, 7, like never ending, and some people, they're just doing it for themselves, fasting over and over and over again. And the thing about these people that love that message, and so a bunch of them have been in our Fruity Friday groups, they're basically all gone. A bunch of people used to come to our Fruity Friday groups that kind of had that mentality, and I had to call it out a couple of times, and then they run away because they need to find the place that doesn't expose them. They need to be in their little place where they can only care about themselves and be completely self-absorbed. That's, it's a very sad thing. It's a mental health issue at the end of the day. But it comes back to this place of being totally self-absorbed. Not thinking about how your actions are affecting other people around you and stopping you from being able to contribute in some way to the world, and blah blah blah, whatever else. So it's not good, in my opinion. But I don't understand. Like maybe if any of you want to explain, how is it that you would get clean and then be more efficient and then be able to live on less? How does that work? Why is it that chimpanzees, bonobos, other apes eat around about the same amount of calories as we do? People say, well, they're way more active than we are. Not really. They don't exercise. Like they have an active lifestyle, but they don't go out on a bike for 3 hours and the stuff that human beings do. They don't go out jogging. You know, have you ever been to a zoo? Like animals aren't constantly active. They're chilling, all the time. They're not really. I mean, there are certain animals like birds and things that are always flying about, but gorillas. I mean, did you really think that they're like highly active? I don't think so. I think they are active, but not so much that they need thousands more calories than we do. Because you're talking about a lot of activity to if you want to double the amount that we need or whatever. It's a lot of activity, and we're very efficient activity wise. So, uh, I'm not a. I don't buy into that idea. You can get clean and eat less. I don't know why you would want to. I really don't know why you'd want to. Someone said another. They said eating so much fruit is a chore. And this is in the words of a cooked food addict, right? And if you want to stay a cooked food addict all your life and eat cooked food, it's fine. But of course, you're not going to enjoy fruit as much because it doesn't feed your addiction. That's what it is. So, someone's like, oh, it's so boring to eat fruit. Yeah, it is if you're addicted to cooked food and you need the stimulation. I'm trying to think if I think eating fruit is boring. Well, if I was to sit down at a table and eat bananas, is it boring? It's not particularly exciting. It's just eating food. You see, just taking in fuel, I suppose. But bananas can taste good. They're not the greatest fruit ever. Um, and I don't think it's meant to be like that anyway. I don't think it's meant to be some big exciting thing. Everyone wants it to be, but it's not really like even the most exotic fruits. Well, no, some fruits can be amazingly, exciting sometimes to eat, but I don't know. I mean, I don't. Anyway, but back to the whole point. As far as I'm aware, there's no research around this. I've never really met people. Now, I've interviewed over 100 people. That's just my interviews of me going over their lives and their stories. And I can't, maybe there might be one person that claims that they fasted and now they can eat less. There might be one or two people. But the vast majority don't claim that. Even people that fasted don't claim that. Um, and then outside of that, the people that I've met outside of that, I've not seen it. I've not seen it. Never seen it. I've never seen anyone be able to eat a low calorie fruit diet and get anywhere with it. I think Anne Osborne eats would some people would perceive that she eats less, or Robert Lockhart or whatever, but they were really light. You know, they're small. Well, and smaller, light. Um, she doesn't need a huge amount of calories to maintain that weight. Um, and it'll work out. I'm telling you, if you follow anyone and follow what they eat, it will always work out as basically what they need, depending on their body size, gender, activity level. It will basically always work out a little around about accurate for what they require. Because I just don't believe there's any magic to this. Like you're gonna be able to take more calories out of a fruit. You're gonna take more out than is actually in it. It doesn't make any sense, right? And if you play around with gaining weight and losing weight, you'll find it's quite accurate. If you cut your calories down by a certain amount, you'll find yourself consistently losing weight. predictably. There's not any kind of magic to it. It all kind of follows a pattern. So that's my video of the day. And stay away from these ideas. Doesn't help you. Get away from all the magical roundabout of weird ideas. Like, just get to the normality of this. You don't want to stay 20 years exploring the raw vegan lifestyle. Like, get it over with. Apply it as much as you like. If you want to go 100% raw, do that. If you don't, then do whatever you want to do. But don't get stuck in a place where you're consistently sort of trying to figure all this weird stuff out and trying to make it work and trying to make fasting work and trying to make a high fat diet work and trying to follow something that someone online does, which they don't even really do, because no one actually knows what they do. They just see what they claim to do. And, anyway. So, thank you for watching. Any comments or questions below, feel free to subscribe. I'll see you in another video.